this video, I hope to share with you a couple of things. First, what we have picked to study for the 2025-2026 school year together as a family. And second, as I go through each one, I'll kind of share how I hope to fit it in our day. Let's dig in. If you're new here, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. I'm Jamie. I'm a homeschooling mom, and this is our 7th year homeschooling. I can't even believe it. This is such an exciting year for us, and I'm looking forward to sharing this with you. I think we all know how it goes when you're trying to plan for the upcoming year. There's this balance of, I want to try all these new things with what are we actually going to be able to do? And I really struggled with that this year because it's such a different year for us. We have kind of a different schedule in our home, and we also are joining a co-op. So there's a few unknowns that I am having a hard time wrapping my mind around. And so I'm really wanting to make sure that I don't overwhelm myself with picks. As a result, I've really taken my time to try and decide exactly what we want to do. I can't show you a look inside all of the books. However, that's one of my favorite things to do is show you guys curriculum and share our experience. So if there is something that I show you here that you do want to see, make sure and leave a comment and I can make note of that and share that with you guys later. Well, my kids are 11, 9, 6, and one will be turning 5 in September. It feels like a new season. Even though my children weren't toddlers last year, I had a toddler in my home. I was watching one for a friend. And so this will be the first year that I don't have a toddler running around, which is a whole new experience. So I'm excited for little groups of family time together and how that will play out. I'm sure we'll still run into little pickles here and there, but my first goal of the day is a morning time at breakfast. And the reason I chose at breakfast is because I noticed how my kids now they eat breakfast and they kind of just linger at the table. They sit and they visit. And I thought to myself, well, if we're going to sit and visit, let's make it intentional. So I used to do these things at bedtime, and now I'm kind of swapping it to our breakfast time, kind of after we eat. So let me share with you what I hope to do then. The first is just scripture memory. I always just go with what I feel is right for our family. I'm sure that it would be better for me to have a plan, and I might get mad at myself later, but I like to pick something that means something to us. Over the summer, I was listening to a podcast and somebody talked about Psalm 121. So that's my goal, and we'll work on it a little bit each week. And then when we're finished, I'll pick another verse based on what our family needs. And what I mean by that is, like, one time we had like some nightmares. So it was kind of, okay, well, let's learn a verse about not having fear. Or if there was like sibling disagreements, okay, well, let's learn about caring for our family. So I like to pick it based on what we need. And so we just do that. It's very quick. I do have a scripture memory box, and I've got a video on that to share. It kind of helps us review. So we will work on memorizing some scripture. So that'll just be something really simple. The other thing my kids love are these books. This is from Master Books, I believe, and it's the answer books for kids. And there's 5 of them in a set, and each one comes with 22 questions. I read 1 question a day. In the book, when you open it up, there's a question and then a scripture reference and an explanation for that question. And we've already done a couple, so we might finish these this year, but it's just really fun, especially if you have really logical kids that like to know a lot of answers. These have been really great and bring a lot of good discussion. Then the other thing we're going to do is work on hymns. I do a very simple form of hymn study. Every month I pick a hymn, and at the beginning of that month, I spend a day reading the description here and just teaching them the verse. And then we practice the first verse that month. Sometimes we'll do a second or third verse, but most of the time we just focus on the first verse. And that's been a good fit for us. So that's kind of what I have planned for breakfast time. I've actually already implemented that this last week just to kind of test it out. I love testing out if I can flow things into our schedule. And it's actually gone really great. And it only takes about 10 or 15 minutes. So I think on top of that, I'm also going to add in some poetry. I love poetry. I'm not always consistent with it, but when I am, I really see benefits of it. I've chosen A Child's Garden of Verses by Robert Louis Stevenson. And we're basically just going to read a poem a day. And when I get to the end of this, I'm not sure what I will do next. But I got the idea from Ambleside Online. I don't follow Ambleside Online, but I do use their website for inspiration. And this is the poetry that they recommend, I think, for term one and or year one. I don't know what they call it, year one. My 6-year-old technically would be that. So I'm actually kind of just using them for inspiration. How can I add in more great literature as she grows? And also it will benefit all the rest of us as well. So this is what they had on their website for poetry. So along with that, I am also hoping to have a little morning loop. And if this seems like too much, I'm going to move it and shift it at some point during the day. I am wanting to incorporate some of the arts into our day. And in the past, we have done it before, but we always just do like a little unit. And that's been a good fit for us. One day, I hope that we can do multiple units in a year. But at this point, I'm like, okay, if we can just get exposed to one unit, that's better than none. So I'm hoping to start the year with a composer study, which we've done one in the past, but this will be the first time that I'm going to use, I think I'm planning to use the Simply Charlotte Mason music study. And we're going to do George Friedrich Handel, only because that is like one of the first lessons in our history book. So I thought, okay, well, that will be a good fit. Her recommendation is to spend 12 weeks on a composer. I don't know if we'll spend 12, but I do hope to spend at least 6 and more if we feel like we should. But I'll use her guide and the music that comes with her study. And if I want to incorporate children's literature, I might do that as well. So that's my plan with music. Once we get through the composer study, I hope to then do one of my other 2 subjects I have in mind. One is a picture study. If you've never done a picture study, they're so much fun. We've done these in the past. This is from Simply Charlotte Mason as well. But they come with a little booklet as well as the art. It's so simple. It'll probably be once a week, and once again, probably 5 or 6 weeks in this. I have not 100% made up my mind on which artist. I have Monet in mind, but I may change my mind. I'm going to look a little bit more into that, but I plan to purchase one of these and add it into a morning loop. So we'll get a composer study done through the year. We'll have a picture study, and then I hope to also incorporate Shakespeare. And keep in mind, this sounds like a lot, but I'm only doing one at a time. Last year was my first year to do Shakespeare, and I had intended to do it just with my oldest. We read a book called The Wednesday Wars, and it just was so good and really inspired me to bring in Shakespeare, and I loved it. But the thing is, all my kids loved it. So what was supposed to be just for my oldest, it ended up being my whole family. So I think it's going to be fun to do Shakespeare. This book is fantastic if you've never read it. I literally just read straight from it to my kids as if it's a script. And it kind of guides me in teaching recitations as well as a little bit about the play. The way we did Shakespeare before was to read it in multiple ways. So I used his book. I used a picture book. We did A Midsummer Night's Dream. We're going to do The Twelfth Night because that's the next one in his book. And there is another picture book by the same author or the same series. So these picture books are fantastic. This is kind of how I introduce the story. It's so fun to look at and makes it really easy to understand. And then this year I also got this Tales from Shakespeare by Charles and Mary Lamb. So I might read the little story in here as well of that same thing. And then the other thing I like to do is listen to the audiobook. So I'll kind of take notes on how we do that. It's going to be a lot of just random things, but it's just fun. It's fun to be exposed to that. It's fun to learn these stories. That's probably one of the things I'm excited for the most. So that's kind of what I have for Shakespeare. And I'll link some stuff below. Maybe once we do it, I can kind of give you some more details on how we do it. Okay, so that little morning loop will be just one at a time, not all 3. I hope to have composer study, picture study, and Shakespeare play. And you know what? That might not take the whole year, but that's okay. It really is. I'm just happy to do it, to be honest. I'm hoping to kind of break at that point and come back in and do math and language arts. I have a plan in my head, not sure if that's going to flow right, but our language arts is going to be kind of a family study. Grouped in certain ways. So we make our own language arts based on books that we read. We do not use an all-in-one curriculum. I've got videos on that if you're interested, but this year I'm going to have my little ones doing picture book studies where it's a picture book a week, and my older two are going to be working through my novel guides. And the thing is, the whole family will participate in the readings. So we still all will get the books. So I will link the picture book studies. They are sorted by theme. So I think there's a camping theme, there's an apple theme, I'm putting out a fall theme, Thanksgiving, and a Christmas theme, and we'll be working through that. And then my older children, I have novels in mind. We will start with Miss Frisbee and the Rats of Nim. Then we'll go into The Sign of the Beaver. I have a plan to do Wizard of Oz, which I've never read before. So just disclaimer, if I start to read it and don't enjoy it, I will pick something else, but that is in my plan. And then I also have a plan to do a Christmas novel as well. Starting in January, I don't have any plans for that yet, but I do know I will be doing Number the Stars because I will be teaching this book in the co-op that I'm teaching in, and so I hope to do a novel guide for this one as well. So if you do like the novel guides I put out, then you kind of have an idea of what's coming. At some point after math and language arts, I'm sure we're going to have to take a little bit of a break, but then we will come together for history and science. Now, the history and science picks are not mine. We are following the new co-op that we are in. I don't know if I would have picked these if it were just me. However, I felt the Lord leading me to this co-op, and so I am going to try these out as well. For history, we will be doing Mystery of History, which is actually a world history curriculum, and the cycle that this group is in is number 4. It's kind of a bummer because we just finished American history and we just kind of went over all this modern history stuff. However, this incorporates American history within world history, so we will be getting some new stuff. Plus, I know lots of great picture books to go with it. So teaching history from a textbook is not my favorite thing. However, I will also be teaching this to the co-op. This is the class I'm teaching. So it'll be a fun new experience for us. And I'm excited to see how that plays out. The bundle I got came with this and 2 different atlases. So I'm thinking a little bit of geography will be thrown into here, but that is what we will be using for history. I am hoping to alternate history and science, but that choice will come once I get the syllabi from these courses because I don't really like to do history and science on the same day. We'll see how that works out. Let me tell you what we're doing for science. This is one I don't have yet, but we are using Apologia, and I believe it's the land animals course. I have used Apologia in the past. We did the flying creatures one a couple of years ago, and it's a very beautiful curriculum. I don't really like how long the lessons are, but I think it will be great to be doing it with a group where they can go and do all the activities with their community, and then we can do the lessons at home. So that's what I will be doing with my youngest 3. My oldest is doing her own science, which I explain in the independent studies video that I put out a couple months ago if you want to check that out. One thing I am considering for history and science is to purchase the audiobook for one of them, maybe even both. But I think that will help me kind of fit it in a little bit better with our schedule, especially because Friday we do something else and we haven't usually done a lot of schoolwork. I'm thinking we're going to need that time. So since we're in the car, I think it might be helpful to possibly listen to the text there. So that's something I'm thinking about as well. Okay, so that covers history and science. So the way I see my day is that would fit in kind of right before lunch. We'll see how that actually works. It might have to be right after. But then I also hope to have another time slot for some type of loop where it's a subject we're not doing every single day. The first one is geography, and I've chosen the Simply Charlotte Mason geography. I have had my eye on this geography for over a year. I almost bought it last year and had my oldest do it, and I just kept putting it off. And I finally decided we're just going to try it. I really liked how this one incorporated literature with it, and you were looking into other books as well. On their website, you can get a really good idea of what this workbook looks like. It's made to do it once a week, which I find super doable. And that's why I was like, okay, this is something we can handle. But it incorporates other books. The two books I got were Hungry Planet and Material World. I believe I got one used, which helped save the price. There are other books that come with it as well, like recommended reading, and I will get those as I can. So I'm so excited to use this curriculum, but the one thing I am a little just bummed about, which I couldn't really have known based on the website, I wonder if somebody here has done a look through of this whole thing. If not, I've got to share it with you. But these books have mixed reviews on her website. Some people are just really upset by the graphics and everything. To me, I think it's a safe place in my home to look at these with my children and have discussions. But the thing I'm bummed about is they're old. They were made in the 90s. So the photographs and the information is from, one of the copyrights was 94. I don't know if it's both of them. But I just feel like that information probably isn't very current. One of these, it was a grocery store purchase. And they tell you what they bought and how much it costs. And I can tell you right now, it doesn't cost that much anymore. Probably triple. But maybe that'll just bring on some good discussion. I'm really excited to do that, and my kids are excited as well. So it looks like we'll get a little geography from this as well as our history curriculum. So that'll be new and fun. So I'll only have 3 loop days because 2 other days of the week we are somewhere else. One of those days, I think I'll loop something with my older 2 daughters. So it'll be more independent. So I guess I'm really not looping family subjects each time. However, if I do like that time slot, I could fit history and science. It's just kind of about blocking your schedule, right? I think I'm blabbing about that, but it really is helpful to know, okay, I have a block here, I have a block here, and I can see what I can fit in. The last thing I want to share is our family devotional, which to me counts as a family subject. This is long story short, and it says right here, 10-minute devotionals to draw family to God. We started this last year, and we are just still working our way through it. You can see we haven't even made it halfway through. We don't get to it every single night. We also take breaks. Sometimes we've done an advent study, but we really try to do it most weeknights. And it's so simple. My husband reads it. We sit down together, and we usually do it before bed. So we have enjoyed this. It's basically walking through the Bible, starting at creation. And we're still in the Old Testament. I think that's everything. And I even kind of walked through my schedule too. I really did try to do things that I thought we really could do. I always just share these in case, it inspires some of your picks, and just to I really just love talking about homeschool. If you want to look at any of this stuff, then I am really happy to share it with you. I really like to share once I get into it a little bit, so I can kind of share an experience as well. Let me know in the comments what you think, and if you're doing any of this, let me know. We'll be doing it together. I think the goal then is to come back in 6 weeks and see what we actually accomplished. That's what we need. A video coming soon. Did she do it all? All right, we'll see you soon.